Good morning and welcome to Screen Junkies Universe. I am Roth Cornet and I am joined by a beautiful, wonderful, intelligent group of gentlemen this morning.
You buttered us up good.
Yeah, I'm trying to make it a good show today. This is Spencer Gilbert, Andy Signore, and Dan Murrell.
Hello.
We're going to talk about Netflix and Disney. Oh my. Broken up for sure this time.
Yeah, it's definitely breaking up.
Yeah, and then we're going to talk about Suicide Squad. It's got a new director and the best movies coming up in October. We think we haven't seen them yet, but these are the ones we're looking forward to. Starting with, it is official, you guys. So we've talked about this a bunch around here, just what's been going on with Disney pulling out of Netflix and moving their content to their own streaming service starting in 2019. But today, CEO Bob Iger made it official. They were negotiating around Marvel and Star Wars movies that they may stay on Netflix. They will not. They will also move to the streaming service. Now, he did this in a Q&A session at the Bank of America and Merrill Lynch Media's Communications Entertainment Conference. That's a mouthful.
Ooh, it's a rager.
Wow. Right?
You got to go to the after party. If you haven't been to the BOA MLM, it is crazy. Oh, the canapes alone. You're going to go nuts.
I like the idea that that's where you want that they would have canapes.
Well, that's just, I mean, there's stuff with Molly, but yeah.
Oh my God, that's a party I actually would want to go to. Disney shares actually went down 3% after the announcement. Netflix unaffected. What do you think, Andy?
I mean, I think that's strange. I mean, well, that Disney shares went down, but Netflix didn't affect. Yeah, I mean, I think it's odd of Disney. And we were just talking off camera to Billy. I was like, there's this weird thing up to me of like CBS's streaming service. Like, I don't really want just CBS. Like, the thing that was sort of cool and about Netflix is it felt like a conglomerate of multiple things, like Hulu as well. Like, all the TV networks sort of converged to be like, if you want to catch your TV shows, you go to Hulu. And then Netflix was sort of the movie version, but then they started doing the original series. So I always thought Disney just should buy Netflix, and that would have been the smarter move because they could have kept the Netflix model going while having their whole library available. To now just get off of Netflix and be like, buy the Disney service. I mean, I guess they're all going to buy it just as a parent alone. The content's going to be amazing, and then on top of that, the Marvel, Star Wars stuff. They'll probably do a Star Wars show, etc. That'll probably, if any studio can do it, it's Disney. That said, I don't know. It's interesting to see if that'll work, or would it have been smarter to buy a Netflix? Like, to me, it's like the other similar situations when Facebook bought Instagram. I feel like there was a lot of a younger generation who was like, I'm sick of Facebook. I'm just going to go on Instagram. And they didn't realize they're still on Facebook because they both are owned by the same company. So it's like, I feel like Disney could have had an opportunity there by like having a broader thing that didn't feel like Disney, that Warner Brothers, other companies could join, but I can't see any other studio joining the Disney service. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious because you're a dad. You are the biggest Disney fan of all of us, I think, right? So you're definitely going to sign up.
Disney
for
is actually the coolest because what they do currently, as a dad, I can vouch. They have the iTunes Connect, and so their Disney Movies Anywhere is actually a really cool service because when you buy the Blu-ray, which I like to have a hard copy just to have at home, you never know, and then it comes with a digital copy that you can unlock with your code. You put the code in, and then it connects to Disney Movies Anywhere, which is what I imagine the streaming service will sort of become. But you can watch them anywhere on any device, anything you've unlocked on your system. Like, you can watch it on the web, you can download it to any iPad, Apple TV, etc., or device you have, and it's kind of great because it works on all of your things. Whereas Ultraviolet and some of these other ones are super annoying where they don't connect the same way. But I've been impressed with Disney.
The movie Ultraviolet?
No, Ultraviolet is another code that you can get on your DVDs and stuff to really get nerdy out. And those you have to get separate apps to work, like the Flickster app and things. And I'm like, I don't even know how to work these apps. They're all dumb. And then Warner Brothers has now created their own streaming app. So when you get the code, you think you're getting your iTunes code. You're not. It's a whole headache as a parent, especially because it's like I buy Lego Movie and I buy Moana and I want them on my TV and my iPad so my kid can watch them. And you have to buy 4 different versions. But somehow, surprisingly, Disney has been the most universally like accepted to those formats. So I don't know how that'll change with this new service.
I mean, I'm not surprised. It's Disney, I think, is the company that is most likely to make this work and have a plan where it would work. But I'm curious for you guys, just as sort of film fans who are adults without children, is this a service that you would necessarily subscribe to?
Only if it's the total package for me. If it is Marvel, Star Wars, Disney, Pixar, and some original content, and it's like at or below Netflix prices, that sounds pretty cool. But if they like piecemeal it and they're like, do you want to get the superhero package or do you want to get the children's package and stuff like that? shouldn't say children's packages early in the morning. Then I don't know, if they're gonna nickel and dime you, then I'm not interested. But if they have everything Disney, which is a big umbrella now, for a reasonable price, maybe I'll throw it on there.
Yeah, Billy Business, our producer, his guess is that this is going to be called the Disney Vault. And, they have traditionally made it really difficult to get some of their older movies. They only release them for so long. They make you buy them instead of renting them. If they made everything available in the entire mythical vault.
But think everything too, like Disney Afternoon, Tailspin, DuckTales. Like if you go back, every show, every movie, like there's a lot they could put in there that would be pretty amazing.
And that's a great family play. Is it something that I would get? No, probably not. As far as Marvel goes, if I like a movie that much, I'm going to buy it. I'm not going to rent it. I don't know. I was looking at Netflix the other day and just the movies that were on there, and I just sat there and I really thought, I was like, when's the last time I sat down and watched a movie on Netflix? And it's been a really long time because their library is declining. They have so much garbage. Like 85% of what they have is garbage. It's just stuff you've never heard of, just stuff that people are probably just giving them to put on Netflix. And then there's a handful of blockbuster titles, and then
most of them are Disney.
A lot of them are Disney and Star Wars, Marvel. There's a few, and then there's some kind of library titles, a few classic movies. But like just going to the movies on Netflix now, there's not much good stuff there. And I was thinking, like, it would not surprise me if within 3 years Netflix was all original content.
Yeah,
because that's the buzzy thing. That's what when people talk about Netflix now, they don't talk about the movies they watch. They talk about Daredevil. They talk about Stranger Things. They talk about The Crown, or the original movies that they're making. Like, I think that's the way that
that's
Netflix
their 100% their model.
Yeah.
They're spending less money on buying the content and making it themselves so they can own it. And then what's crazy is you buy it all out. Like what's that Will Smith movie?
Bright.
Yeah. It's like when you make those movies, you have to pay Will Smith a fortune because you're not paying him residuals and things that traditionally you would do in other mediums. So that's clearly what they think is the future. But then you do what's a Death Note and some of this stuff that's like they're investing a lot of money and that's garbage. It's a tough shoe. How long can that studio exist?
I just think Disney's overplaying their hand a little bit for right now, because if they're taking everything off every other platform and it's like, okay, now it's in the Disney streaming app, I think they're overestimating the number of people that are ready to make that jump to like, okay, I'm going to watch everything on my tablet, or I have a smart TV, or I'm going to stream it or AirPlay it, or I've got to, I'm going to put the HDMI cable from my TV into my phone or I mean, it's like, it has to be kind of it's a new generation thing. And I just don't know how many people, I'm sure that the tech savvy people they talk to are ready, but just like, my mom wouldn't be able to do that. I'd have to talk to her for an hour for her to figure that out. And it's like, I realize that at some point that's going to go, but like, I wonder, speaking from experience, how ready are people to jump into this whole like new thing? It's a separate thing. I have to download a separate thing. Like, people aren't going to have 47 different apps or 47 different subscriptions. And there's going to have to be a point where they consolidate all this, because it's like, people don't have unlimited patience for just like, oh, okay, I subscribe to another thing.
See,
and another
I
thing,
disagree.
and
I think that's what's happening instead of cable. Like, people are saying, like, I have Hulu, I have Netflix, I have X, and that's what they buy. And I think it's there. I agree, though, you can't have a ton of them, but it's like you can have 4 of them, and I think that's where things are going to go.
Sure, you can have 4
and
of
you have
them.
your 4 apps on your phone and your Apple TV or your Google TV, etc. That's how it's going to work, I think, in the future, and that'll be a lot of people's cable systems. And I think the future is going to be what devices come pre-installed with those apps, so they're easy to use and such. That's gonna make it more game changing.
Yeah, do you think
4 or 5,
it's now or never for Disney? Because if they can't get their own thing started now, then they're just beholden to Netflix for the rest of time. I mean,
that's the
Beholden,
thing.
but meaning like getting paid a lot of money by Netflix. Keep in mind.
sure.
Sure, getting paid a lot of money, but Netflix isn't going that direction. The story of Netflix is the story of this industry at this point. Netflix was originally, they started as licensing movies, and then it became harder and harder for them to license movies as the industry, the studios didn't want to do that anymore. So they started licensing television. Then television got hip to the skip that wasn't necessarily good for them either.
Wow.
Yeah, that wasn't necessarily good for the TV shows either, because it made it harder for them to manage their own content and profit from it in the way that they wanted to do. So then Netflix went into original content, but the original content isn't all original content. It's not produced by Netflix. It's still produced by other studios like Lionsgate, and they're still essentially licensing the content. So now what they're doing is actually making originally produced content that they produce and own the same way, say, AMC produces and owns The Walking Dead.
Yeah, it's fascinating because also Netflix has the new download feature, which
Yeah.
is actually really cool if you haven't used it. So, but what's interesting about it is not all the shows are downloadable. Like Marvel shows clearly weren't. That deal wasn't brokered with Disney to be able to download, Luke Cage onto your phone. But Wet Hot American Summer is. So like depending on the production behind it, it's clear they have different rights as to what they can do. And I think we're going to see more of that too, because Spotify, a lot of these are YouTube Red, et cetera. Like the download to your phone feature is actually a crucial one, because it's like you're on a plane or you don't have your web access. Like how do you still watch your movies? And it actually is a game changer for, I think, for a lot of these services, which I'm sure Disney will do too if they do their own app.
And with the Marvel shows, you can see, because they have releases on Blu-ray and DVD of some of the Marvel shows, like that Netflix is not going to allow that.
No, and imagine if the
own.
Disney service stops the digital early and says instead it's only on the Disney app for the first 3 months.
That's what's going to piss me off. That's where if Disney starts doing that, it's like, oh, well, if you want to watch it on Blu-ray, sorry, you're going to have to wait 6 months till it's on our... That's where I think you're going to start seeing consumers really, like... Disney's already pulling junk with Amazon. You cannot pre-buy anything Marvel on Amazon because they're having a war with Best Buy, so they're already playing the exclusivity game. It's annoying to me because I choose to buy stuff from Amazon. But then now if they're just like, oh, and you can't watch it at home, like that's what people are going to get pissed off, because it's like, you want to give me the option to buy your thing, that's fine, but when you tell me I have to buy it, that's when I start as a consumer saying, well, screw you, I don't want to. Like, why?
Oh, you'll still buy it.
No, I won't.
No.
I will not.
I'm the same way. There's a bunch of stuff that I would have easily rented, but I will. When they try and force me to buy it, I get that same like, F you, I'm not buying it. I don't. If I wanted to buy it, I would have bought it.
Yeah, but it's windowing. I just feel like hotels have it early. You can get those movies for
but
$20
that
at a
doesn't
hotel.
preclude people from getting it when they
No, I think
normally
you'll
would
still get the.
otherwise.
But I'm saying it's on iTunes for a month before it's on Blu-ray. But imagine instead of that month on iTunes, it's on Disney streaming service. Is all I'm saying. Like I think those types of windowing will be the smart move for Disney, because once they start doing that enough, I think people are going to be like, yeah, I like having that. Plus, there's a new Star Wars show or there's a new Pixar series. Like that's gonna blow people's minds, and they're gonna want to have it.
And to your point, they have to do it. It's now or never for them.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%.
Like
if you're going to make the movie, you got to do it now. Is all as because the players are getting their footing. And
Amazon owns Whole Foods. Pretty soon it's going to be one movie, one company.
which is exciting.
This isn't entertainment. We're in
Amazon
entertainment Game
Whole
of
Foods is a whole
Thrones.
other interesting thing, because it knocked the prices down tremendously, and it gave them distribution points to finally have
Just of like the
It's
avocados,
crazy.
though. You walk in, you get a cheap avocado, then you walk out with like a $40 sandwich.
Yeah.
God damn it, they tricked me again.
They've done it again.
Then
Well,
the drone flies you away to re-education camp, and then you
and then you go back and
stop
buy that
complaining.
$40 sandwich again. Yeah.
Does anyone watch Prime though?
Yes,
That's the one
I do.
service I can't figure
I
out.
get for
I
like
do.
Catastrophe and
do.
I don't use Prime.
I have
on there.
Prime.
I have
don't
Hulu and I have
watch it.
Netflix, but I don't have Prime.
But that's the but that's the thing. Now it's going to Hulu, Netflix, Prime, CBS. All it's like this thing where you used to be able to go to like 5 different places. If people start pulling everything exclusive, then you have to go to 25
CBS is not
going to
be on that list.
No, it's not.
But they're
about
trying-
CISO, guys?
No, but they're on the list. They're trying to be. They're trying to be one of those places. But the problem is everyone else is trying to be one of those places. Again, from experience. People aren't gonna.
Hey man, ScreenJunkies Plus was a good idea.
People are not going to juggle 45 different things and just like this. It's going to be too much.
Well,
It's gonna
no,
be too
from
much.
experience, it's just there's an
Everyone
investment.
can't
There's
have
an
their own.
investment and a price point and a requirement level that comes with these services, and I think you have to be, you have to have a lot of content there, and you have to have a lot of cachet. A Disney does, and so it's like they could do it. CBS is the #1 network still, so but it's usually like older shows that I feel like the demographic that watches
It's the wrong
NCIS
demographic.
doesn't want to go buy CBS
No,
online.
their hand
So
is caught in the
it's a
garbage
weird-
disposal.
yeah.
Like they're not figuring out apps.
Yeah. I mean, to your point, Dan, it's actually, they're not worried about our parents or really even us. They're worried about who's behind us. They're trying to get ahead of it right now, because this is the time. Apple's making a big play. Google's going to get into it. Netflix is in it, and Amazon is already there. So at a certain point, you're right. People aren't going to have 92 different services, but one will win. And it's
Sure.
right now, it's who's going to win. I don't know. And nobody really knows how it's all going to shake out in the end. Maybe not one. Maybe we'll go back to sort of like having a few different networks, and that will be how it works. And it'll be a lot of a la carte. But the current system is very confusing to the consumers, where I would 100%.
It'll
agree.
also be confusing though if Disney and other people start actually competing with Netflix in a legitimate way, and Hulu and Amazon. I feel like those are the 3 major players right now, right? If there's more people there, it'll be interesting to see if Netflix can sustain that, because I think Netflix isn't indestructible. Like they are. I agree with Dan. Like they're starting to show their wear of like, there's too much crap.
Yeah, but you're not gonna
There used to be a
unsubscribe.
badge of honor of like, oh, the new Netflix series, I gotta go watch it. And nowadays it's like, I don't feel that way. HBO, I feel like still has managed to keep that sort of thing where you're like, all right, there's a new HBO show, I gotta go try this out. Whereas with Netflix, it's like I lose track now of what they're releasing. And there's a new Robert Redford movie with.
But the price point matters because Netflix, the streaming only service, is what, $7 a month? That's 2 of these. Right. I forget that I even subscribe to it. I probably watch it once a month, but I still, it's not
those
so
shows
bad
are
that I'm
costing a lot.
unsubscribing.
I'm interested to see when it actually breaks even of like how much they're paying for House of Cards, etc. Like is not cheap, and so it's like when will that? Do they really have enough people paying $7 to justify those hard production costs?
Well, that's my concern. Is like, yes, Netflix. You forget that's $7. It's 2 of those. But then if everybody does what Disney does, and now they say, okay, we're pulling like if NBC says, okay, we're pulling all of our stuff off Hulu. And then CBS has already said, okay, we're going to pull everything onto CBS All Access. And then ABC pulls all their stuff off Hulu. So now if you want to watch,
Fox,
it's $7 for that one. It's $5 for that.
But
it's $3 for that. It's $4 for
add
this.
it all up and it's cheaper than cable.
ESPN. It's $8 for HBO Go.
Yeah.
It's $10 for Showtime. It's just like, and then now if you want to watch, now you have to juggle. It seems like it's going to get unwieldy if everyone tries to go exclusive and do their own thing. Maybe I'm a Luddite. Maybe I don't get it, but it just seems I don't see people subscribing to 47 different things. There's going to have to be a convergence at some point where they figure out the balance.
I agree. There's going to have to be a way to make this an easier.
Well, one company will just buy them all eventually, and then they'll just have it all in one service.
Yeah, it reminds me of the music industry post Napster when like Universal Records would have their own crappy download site and like Rhapsody Music and all these different shops, and you realize that people didn't care about what record label it came from, just like people don't care what studio it comes from. They just want to go to one place and get their stuff.
And the thing that solved it was the iPad.
Exactly.
Like the iPod made it the thing of Apple was not only making an iPod, but they created a store where then everyone wanted to be on the iPod, and it worked. So it's like, what will be the device that causes that is the interesting thing.
It will be Apple.
That's a whole other conversation. I've lost a lot of faith in Apple these days.
Apple's going against Amazon.
Carpool karaoke is like they've spent a lot of money on that, and who cares?
Apple's going against Amazon currently for the rights to Bond.
Yeah.
So there's a whole different level that Apple's going to start to play at as we move
They
forward.
need to do 5 of those, and then we'll start talking.
Those
Yeah,
like
they can.
I want to know how much the James Bond rights go for, and I love James Bond, but I'm legitimately curious. Like, if they pay however much, like, is that really going to be a return on investment? Are you going to get $500 million worth of people?
Yeah, they've already sold those
James
box
Bond
sets
movies.
like a billion times.
Yeah, like
everyone owns them.
The hardcore James Bond fans are people like me that have the Blu-ray sets. It's like that's the other thing is like as these bidding wars go up and people are paying insane amounts of money to win these rights, like.
It's PR.
What's the return on investment on that?
Because in the next James Bond, he's going to talk on his Apple Watch. He's going to talk to his home speaker and get
James
on
Bond Jr. is going to come back in a whole new reboot. Yes. As a TV show.
It's honestly like
to the name.
They paid $100 million for 2 seasons of House of Cards. House of Cards was
that's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money, but that's the show that also launched Netflix in a large way.
How many subscribers is that?
It doesn't matter.
You can't do that math. 700,000.
So the point is, though, it put it on the map in a big way in terms of public relations. Everybody was writing about it. Everybody was talking about it. And then their next original series already had pre-built-in buzz. You came for House of Cards, you heard about House of Cards, and then suddenly Orange is the New Black is the conversation. If they make this bidding war and they spend more than it's worth, it's just to launch themselves into the conversation.
1.2 million subscribers a year at $7 a pop pays for
House of Cards.
A year of if you paid 12 months. That's 1.2 million subscribers a year. Pays for just that House of Cards. And just think how many more of those the numbers have to be huge over there.
They're $20 billion in debt currently, Netflix is. But having said that, they're also seeing substantial growth. They're in most countries at the point, and they're at almost saturation here, but they're reaching into other markets all the time. How it plays out, I don't know. It could collapse, but they also could win this game. Nobody knows yet what is going to happen, but some of these things there's tangential benefits to things. It's not just
to outlast and outspend all the other 4 or 5 things that are competing with you.
Yeah.
And then Apple is dangerous because they're one of those companies that has trillions of dollars in cash sitting there. So they might be like, all right, let's spend $1 trillion on James Bond. We've got trillions of dollars to spare. And now he becomes
$1 trillion.
$1 trillion, yeah.
Chaos is a ladder.
It is a ladder and a pit. You know what else is? Suicide Squad 2.
Roth and a segue.
Suicide Squad 2
Please
is a new
make that
director,
graphic.
you guys. Warner Brothers and DC have chosen.
let's all take a moment of silence for Gavin O'Connor, shall we?
Oh, Gavin's
No.
fine.
I'm
You
not.
love Gavin.
Look,
Why is he doing this movie? Come on, why is anyone making this movie? Is the better
because
question.
it made money, right? Didn't the first
No,
one do well?
What you want to see?
Suicide Squad?
Look,
Yeah.
I argued that it was fine. I argued that was way better than I should have. But even I can admit, like, no, we don't want another one of these dumb movies.
Well,
Like,
there's nothing
why?
fundamentally flawed about the premise. It was just the execution was.
Yes, there is. Why are there a bunch of villains when they have a Justice League?
Because you
They
get
have a group of
look,
heroes.
The idea of the Suicide Squad isn't bad. It's why I worked in the comics. It's
But
like
they're in the same universe as a group of heroes that do the same job but better.
If you have a better person helming it, you can send them on a different job that's like a different tone and a darker.
Do you think Gavin O'Connor's gonna be able to stand up against Warner Brothers and all of that's happened and get a better movie made?
It'd be hard to do worse.
So Gavin O'Connor, if you guys don't know, most recently with Warner Brothers did The Accountant with none
mixed
other
movie.
than
Yeah.
Ben Affleck.
Mixed movie, like better than I thought it would be, but still kind of a weird movie.
Do you know what movie he made that I love? I loved this film, and it was Drowned the year that it came out by The Fighter, which is Warrior.
It's a good movie.
This is one of those movies, and this is how you know you're in a movie that you really, really love. I had to pee so bad.
You didn't
and
pee?
it was in the final fight sequence, and it was this amazing fight that was this emotion. I know people
They're
have,
fighting, but they're brothers.
but they're brothers, and it had this amazing emotional resolution to it. And
Did you pee your pants, Roth?
I'm not saying I held
That's a
it,
good
Andy.
movie.
I held it, Andy. That's a good movie.
Yeah. If you pee your pants, it's a good
If
movie.
you
Ladder
need your,
burster.
if you're willing to get those depends out, you know that that's a
That
good
happened
movie.
at the end of Return of the King for me, and
Oh no!
I'm waiting
I
for
did
it
too.
to
I had to
end.
go so bad. It's terrible.
I had to go really bad.
Warrior is such a good movie, and people complain because the fights aren't realistic. It's a movie. It's a movie.
Tom Hardy's really good. Yeah,
Sure,
good.
it's like Rocky UFC.
Yeah, exactly. It's not realistic fighting, but it doesn't matter. Who cares? It's such a good movie. So I do have faith in him that he could pull off a good movie. But to your point, Andy, is he going to be able to fight the studio?
I mean, hopefully he doesn't have to fight the studio. That would be the goal.
But come on.
certainly, I mean, Patty Jenkins fought the studio and won. So I hope that they would
fought
realize
the
that maybe when
studio.
someone's trying to
I won.
fight them, that maybe that they have something worth saying. I feel this is bizarre that I'm on the other end of the spectrum of Suicide Squad, but like in a positive way. Because again, the concept of the movie wasn't what anyone had the problem with. I think that's why everyone was so excited for Suicide Squad, was because of the concept and this idea of a bunch of outlaws and this motley crew. I mean, I was certainly excited about the movie because of that. It was what Spencer said. It was the execution of it. It was a mess. It was all over the place. You could stitch together some junk together version of a hastily written script and studio notes. It was an absolute dumpster fire for me. But the problem was The Accountant was exactly the same. I also thought that movie was a lot like Suicide Squad in that it was like 4 different movies. There was a scene where J.K. Simmons tells a story in the middle of it for 10 minutes, just for no reason. It just stops
Yeah.
the movie in
It's
the
really-
middle. If you haven't seen it, I won't
haven't
spoil
seen it
it,
yet.
but it is a vastly different movie by the end than it is during the beginning.
Great trailer.
Great trailer.
Trailer was one of the best of the year.
It's perfect
You know,
for Suicide
you know
Squad.
what they should have done? They should have hired the trailer house
Yeah.
to then edit
Just
the
see
movie.
what
do the
they
whole
get.
thing.
That would have been.
But yeah, no, I thought The Accountant was completely schizophrenic and all over the place in just 4 different movies. So that's what worries me a little bit about Suicide Squad too. But I agree, the guy's got talent. He's got a good style, and hopefully they can learn from the past and get it together.
Just keep it simple.
Yeah, it seems easy when you have a charismatic cast and a premise that should be humorous. But if anything if we've seen anything from Warner Brothers in the last few years, is that a simple premise that seems easy to deliver on, not necessarily.
Give us more Katana. You know,
He's
got his back.
we know one very
We know-
important thing,
we
maybe
learned
even
about
2 or
her.
3 important things
Yeah.
about her. She's got her back. Don't. I'd advise not getting killed by her. Sword traps the souls of its victims. What else does she do?
She
Let's
kind of had
find
the
out
most
things.
fascinating, like she had the most fascinating backstory of anyone in that movie, and they literally breezed over it in like a sentence. They're like, the sword killed her husband and his soul is trapped inside of it. I'm like, wait, what? Like, no, what? Tell me more about that. I don't care about the
most
Joker.
complicated backstory
this is the
you've
most
just struck
complicated
off.
backstory in the world, and you literally like
She
delivered
just
it
shows
off
up
screen.
mid-movie
Yeah.
on a plane. It's so bad.
I
Oh
agree.
god, if
I
the
wanna
whole
know
thing
more
is
about
just a
Katana.
flashback to like Katana and Slipknot, like just their whirlwind romance, and then it kind of recontextualizes Suicide Squad 1 when you see Slipknot. And,
I just,
oh, man.
can I pitch
There was
one
a time
scene?
when I had no one's back.
And the
Can I pitch one scene for
I couldn't
Gavin?
climb anything.
I want to pitch a scene to Gavin where they introduce her again, and someone goes, "This is Katana," and she just goes, "Everybody knows already." Something like that. I want a throwback to that line.
They should make some acknowledgements of how bad the first one was. That would
Puts
get me
the sword
immediately
up,
on board.
Yeah. I'd be like, all right, they're aware.
Yeah.
Are we gonna have the Enchantress in this one?
No. Can we just get rid of Caroline Delavani thing?
Cara Delevingne.
Don't need her anymore.
Delavani.
Don't need her.
Well, the thing is,
What if
now,
you just
do her
had
Instagram
actual
modeling
Axl
and
Rose
stuff?
come in and take over that part? Would we
Ooh,
notice?
yeah. If you do like the CGI
Yeah.
Youthful Axl Rose, when he's like doing the snake
Doing
dance.
the snake dance.
Great.
is Jared Leto in this? That's a good question because they're
Jared
doing his
Leto
own
doesn't
spinoff
know.
with Margot Robbie. So obviously Margot Robbie is going to be in this.
How do you? I'm just. Why are you guys excited for a sequel to this movie? I feel like I'm living in an opposite
I'm not
town.
saying I'm excited for it.
This is the dumbest idea ever. Like, did you see the first one? There was no reason they should be together.
Did you see the
Yes,
first one?
and I'm
Because I
shocked I
remember
have
very
to argue
clearly
with
having
Dan
an argument
Murrell
about
over why
this.
they should make a sequel to Suicide Squad. There was no
This
reason.
is the movie you called me a snob for not liking. This is the movie you called me a stick in the mud for not liking.
I'm coming back to realize there was no reason these people should be together. It made no sense. Their chemistry was sort of fun, and I had fun with it, but it's ridiculous. There's no justification
nothing
to bring them back.
ridiculous about-
And in the same universe, mind you, after the Justice League is going to save the world, we're going to put this crew back together with the collars on, and Amanda Waller saying, "I'm going to kill you if you don't
Andy,
listen to me." Like,
the Justice
it's
League's gonna
stupid.
save the world. They're gonna save the day.
No,
So
Suicide
that's
Squad's
what-
gonna save the
Fair. It's like a bank heist, and they've broken out, and they're on their own, and they're not with Amanda Waller, maybe, but they'd have to go so drastic that I just don't trust Warner Brothers to like make it a nice, small little heist movie, which is what I feel like it would need to be.
Yeah.
It's like to do another world-saving Skybeam with this crew.
Well, we don't know that
don't
that's
know
what
that
it's
they'll
going to
do that.
be. That's the thing.
The premise
that's
is
what-
Suicide
inherently
Squad
bad.
2. I mean, it's got to be the same crew.
No, it just means it has to be a squad sent on a suicide mission.
Yeah.
That's
right.
all.
Fair. I don't have faith in what I've seen from so far, and with another schizophrenic director, that they're going to be able to do a small, self-contained Suicide Squad.
I'm
sequel.
not saying I'm not skeptical about it. I'm just not going to bury the thing before we know anything other than a director. I mean,
I'm
of course I'm
ready to bury it.
but
Kill it dead.
Kill it. And I'm the one who had fun with it. I will admit, I had fun the first time I watched because it's stupid. But I guess if they embrace that, it shouldn't be in the world with Justice League. That's I wish they would rip it apart and make it its own thing and not have the
three
connections.
Jokers.
Yeah.
I know, but it's like they do not know how to make a cinematic. Their cinematic universe is awful.
Wait,
but
what
the
if
movies
it's-
could be fun
what
if they
it's
weren't
a
so behind
Suicide
it.
Squad of just all the alternate Jokers.
Ooh,
Jack
I
Nicholson.
like
It's
that.
all of the alternate.
I want to watch the
Leonardo
Suicide.
CGI Heath Ledger.
I want to see
Mark
the
Hamill.
Lego Suicide Squad movie. That's what I want to see.
What?
I want to see like a self-referential, like fun, silly, like
Making fun of itself.
Yeah,
Suicide Squad movie. Or the Miller and Lord Suicide Squad movie.
Doug Benson back as Bane, and you bring all those characters back. It'll be fun.
All right. Well, what fictional characters would you like to
If
see?
he gets Tom Hardy to come back as Bane in the sequel, then I'm on
That'd
board.
be fun.
Really?
How would that work,
What's
though?
going on over
What's
there?
happening?
I want it to be stupid.
Crazy
I want it to either be self-contained small or let's just go balls to the wall stupid and admit it.
Sure, let's just have the freaking Care Bears be the Suicide.
Yeah,
they should just
I'm
go on the
sold,
Suicide
sold.
Squad mission. Why not? You guys let us know which fictional characters you would like to see go on a Suicide Squad mission. Is it us? We're not real. You know what would be fun though? Blade Runner 29. That was a bad
Yeah.
one. That was
Jared
the-
Leto.
Wow.
that was
Segue
the
potential
Jared
there.
Leto. Yeah.
There you go.
Damn it.
We need to make those.
Let's talk about the movies that are coming out in October that are not the Suicide Squad 2 that we are looking forward to seeing. Blade Runner for me, 2049. That's one of the ones. This was one of those movies. Hey, don't you?
It'll look good, but I still have a feeling it's going to be just like.
Oh no,
It's gonna be
I believe in
great.
this.
Do you?
I believe in this film.
It's
yeah.
going to be
Yeah.
great.
Villeneuve has not let me down
I'm
yet.
not as big a fan of the original. I'll say it. Like it's fine. I
Alright,
like
well
it,
then.
but that's where I feel like it's just I don't know. It's
Maybe you'll like this even
too
more.
artsy for me.
Too artsy.
Blade Runner?
God damn
Okay,
it.
so I do love Blade Runner. I know people say it's overrated. I think that's bullshit.
Too artsy.
No,
It's
fine.
a Harrison Ford
fine.
movie about hunting robots.
No, it's very philosophical and just gets very heady and full of itself. And Rutger Hauer monologuing in the rain. Like
Yes,
Yeah, one of the best movie monologues of all time.
It's fine. It's fine. It's good. I'm not saying I hated the movie. It's not when I go rewatch 10
Too many
times.
words.
Too many words.
I watched it. I got it. I've seen it twice. I've watched it twice. It's fine, but it's not one I was like dying to go back to. And especially with all the multiple cuts, it's confusing. The director's cut.
No, that I will agree with.
It's like it's hard to know which one. So then you don't even know what movie am I supposed to watch. I just think the whole thing's been a little overblown. But it's fine. It's fine. It's beautiful. It's amazing. Like technically, I get it. And this looks amazing. I do like Denis Villeneuve. He's a good. All of his movies, I've liked them all.
Yeah.
So have I.
What was the one with the prisoners? Was really actually underrated.
Yeah. Denis Villeneuve to me has not made a bad movie, and
He makes me excited.
I was
That's fair.
not into this idea until he was the director, and I'm like, that is the perfect person.
Because even if the movie's bad, I just want to watch him make a movie.
The visuals look
And
amazing.
is it Deakins doing? Did he shoot it?
I believe Roger Deakins.
Because I'll watch any movie he shoots.
Yeah, no, I'm very excited. Maybe for no reason, but no. If it was Ridley Scott doing it, if I'm being honest, if it was Ridley Scott doing it, I'd be way more skeptical.
Yes.
However, because it's Denis Villeneuve, and I just don't. He doesn't seem like a studio shill. Like it seems like he would really come in and do like a version of the movie that he wanted.
He'd have
to
a reason to do it,
right?
Not just a gun for hire.
And you got
And it is
you
a
got the
smarter
Baby
movie that you
Goose
can't just come
there.
in and do it's dumb studio sequel. Like you clearly need someone smart to take over this
The
franchise.
thing that he said at Comic-Con too, that it is Deakins.
It's gonna be very long.
The thing that he said at Comic-Con that made me feel really good is people said, "Oh, how did Ridley Scott help?" And he said, "Oh, he left me alone." And I was like,
Nice.
perfect.
Great.
Like he just basically stepped out of it and let him make the movie. People have different feelings about Ryan Gosling. I think he's a great actor. I think Harrison Ford is back. This is gonna be awesome.
Is he gonna
Andy.
be? Is he
That's
gonna
a good
care?
spell.
Is he gonna
Are we
care?
gonna get
Because I
Crystal
saw the
Skull?
clip and I'm just like, he's old again and just clearly annoyed with life. The character in the movie, I'm saying. And
I don't know how much he's going to be in it.
Yeah.
I get a
I don't know,
feeling
yeah.
he'll be there for about
And
20
then
minutes.
I think so too.
Yeah. I kind of hope that though.
The other one that I'm excited. We talked about
That
this
was
the
weird
other
at Comic Con
day.
when Jared Leto showed up as a hologram.
The hologram Leto.
very weird.
That was amazing.
People
We
thought
are
it was
living
him.
in upside down world because
He's like
Jared
there,
Leto.
and he's like hello, and then he dissipates. And it's
Yeah.
like,
Jared Leto looks like the best part of the movie.
Yeah,
I don't
he's
know
playing
what
crazy.
universe I'm in.
Okay, who do
Yeah.
you guys think is a replicant?
Oh, everyone, right? Pretty much everyone but Gosling.
I feel like okay, so the replicants have taken over in what? Don't you think? Okay, so Leto's clearly a replicant,
Sure.
right? He's clearly a replicant, and he started this whole thing. Basically, the entire Earth is dependent on him, and he's a replicant, and that's the secret if it gets out, right?
spoiler alert. Now you just
I
ruined it
don't
if it's
know.
true.
Just
But if it's
speculating.
true,
How is that a spoiler alert?
'Cause if it's
when
true,
like
now I saw it
crazy
coming.
Fantasizing.
that's the problem with spoilers now. If we speculate
If you
a
get it
movie
right,
and
then
you're
you
right,
ruined it.
you've
Yeah.
ruined it. So we all do
Mother,
now.
we talked about the
Can you
other
imagine
day.
if Empire Strikes Back came out today? Like, it would
Oh
not
my
be like,
God.
well, clearly they're related.
Yeah.
There'd be a
all right.
million think pieces about it and web
I just
shows,
got the rap
vlogs.
from Billy, so sorry, Billy. We're wrapping it up. What are the movies that you're looking forward to besides
we
Blade Runner?
We hyped this up. I'm not looking forward. Actually, Mother sounds weird. I want to see Mother. The Foreigner looks kind of fun. Jackie Chan and Pierce Brosnan, like Taken type movie. That trailer
What?
was pretty intense.
Can we talk about a movie that's coming out on October 20th?
Yes, Dan, I know what you are going to say, and I'm right there with
From
you.
director Dean Devlin. It's a little movie called Geostorm.
I mean, isn't this getting a little scarier though now with actual
It
storms
is.
coming? There was like a solar spark that they just said from the sun, the largest in history, that could prompt an actual
This is all just
geostorm.
promotion for
Yeah.
Jesus.
It could actually happen.
No,
it's
I
going
agree.
to happen.
This is becoming more and more like reality, but I very rarely hope for a bad movie. However, a Dean Devlin, Roland Emmerich type of bad movie is its own separate category,
Yep.
and
Starring Gerard
And
Butler.
Gerard Butler.
starring Gerard Butler. I mean, how much more?
And Ed Harris as
potential-
the president.
Yeah,
Gerard Butler has to fight the world in this movie.
But, like, the
world
actual
itself. He has to
nature.
fight the globe.
I've got to fight the earth.
Oh, take the globe.
They're coming for me. Apologies to our Scottish viewers, but not to Gerard Butler. No, there's a certain level of ridiculous and bad that just kind of transcends. And I'm actually going to be disappointed if this movie's good.
Oh, it
or
will
even
be.
mediocre.
Or like Grounded.
I don't
I'm
see how it could
expecting
be.
a special kind of ridiculous and terrible from this
So
movie.
you guys have seen 2012?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes, the
Oh,
Pea
yeah.
Pants twins
Yeah.
and
The limo, the magic limo.
Arcs.
The Magic Limo. I love Roland Emmerich. People say that Michael Bay is the master of spectacle. I say nay. It is Roland Emmerich, sir. Yes, he makes terrible movies, but they are amazing.
He's got to get a new move,
Yeah, but
though.
see, Independence Day 2 just ruined
No,
it. for me.
that one.
That
okay.
wasn't.
can only
That should have
destroy
been
the
amazingly
city so many
bad
times.
fun. Like
That
just
one wasn't even
a
fun.
popcorn ride, and it was awful.
Yeah, that
Independence
was
Day
awful.
2 was worth it for the oil painting of Will Smith hanging in the White House.
It was based on a.
Then they pan to his like completely non-charismatic, awful. No fat. Sorry, dude, you were terrible. Why did you cast
No, the
that guy?
charisma skipped a generation.
Most
Everyone
one-
knows that.
boring.
He was rebelling against his dad by
Will
having no
Smith's son, and
personality.
he's so boring. Right? I was like, what are you doing, dudes?
That one was not good, but I will say if you cut together his disaster sequences and like had some electronic music under that business, I would watch that all day long. Maybe after going to the party that Spencer was talking about earlier, I'm not
Oh, yeah.
sure. The
Merrill Lynch.
Snowman, the Merrill Lynch party. Snowman, director of Thomas Alfredson, director of Let the Right One In and Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, which I feel like I should ding the bell every
This
time
is
I
a
say.
book, right?
Yeah. This is about a detective investigating the disappearance of a woman whose pink scarf is found wrapped around an
Creepy trailer.
ominous-looking
And, like, the
snowman.
killer leaves snowmen.
This is
around and stuff.
Rebecca Ferguson, Michael Fassbender, Val Kilmer, Chloe Sevigny. This one looks
Sounds
awesome.
like Jack Frost. Michael
Which
Keaton,
one? Mike-
Snow Dad.
Is Snowman how we're saying it? No? Snowman?
The snowman.
Snowman.
The Snowman.
The snow. Is that what I said?
Yes, the
That's so
Snowman.
weird.
Why are they still making Insidious movies?
People keep seeing him.
Insidious.
Yeah, they do.
How many Insidious do we
The
need?
Last Key is coming out. This also.
It's another prequel.
Oh boy.
I'm over it. I saw the first one was okay, but I guess they can't come up with new horror movies. They just have to rely on, oh, you like this one. This was a surprise hit years ago. We'll just keep running this one to the ground.
Yep.
And Jigsaw's back.
Jigsaw is back.
Yeah, that one.
mean-
it's a cool trailer. I gotta say, they did a good job with the trailer. At
Really?
least. Yeah. Check it
Why?
out.
I did watch it.
Oh, I like it.
Leatherface. This is the Jigsaw and Leatherface. Like
Ugh.
that's the new thing is you reboot the horror movie by naming it the villain. Mm-hmm. I'm sure we might get like Michael Myers in next year.
There's actually
It's
going to be
called
a
Michael Myers.
Nurse Ratchet miniseries.
Yeah,
That's
right.
good. Did you guys hear about that?
I agree with you in that.
You guys hear?
Poor
Disgust.
Sarah Paulson.
I know. Sarah Paulson playing
Is
in
she?
the prequel series of Nurse Ratchet.
No.
Yeah.
Just cast Sarah Paulson in a show called Crazy Nurse.
Yeah.
Not everything has to be a thing.
Amen on that one.
Yeah, I
One
gotta
Flew Over
say,
Cuckoo's Nest. That is a
That is a
movie.
great
That's a
movie.
great movie.
That is a great movie. We'll end it on that. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Go
We
watch
talked
that
about
this October.
Another one opening wide in October is Mother, but we talked about that because it's opening in limited in September. So that one is Darren Aronofsky, and I cannot wait to see the movie.
Yeah, everyone's
Speaking of-
losing their mind, saying it's
Yeah.
crazy. I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, losing their mind. Crazy for Cuckoo's Nest. Go see that movie. That is a great classic movie that does not need a prequel series. Thank you guys for joining us today. Any final words of weirdness?
Kingsman 2, isn't that coming out? I'm excited for Kingsman 2.
It's in September. Right?
September.
Yeah.
Oh,
We
you're
already
right.
did
Sorry.
that.
That's why I'm out.
We did that
We
one.
Sorry, I was making sure we did.
My birthday in October. That's what I'm
When's
looking
your
forward to.
birthday?
birthday.
Second.
October 2nd. All right.
Second. Only day that matters.
Yeah, mine's the 2nd too of December. Look at that. Anyway, bye. Thank you for joining us today. Be cool to each other.